Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of RawRadiantHealth.com, and I'm Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So it's Monday, and today I want to talk about, I got a few emails over the weekend asking me to talk about how I quit smoking. So I smoked for 20 years, and I was a heavy smoker. Especially in my early 20s, I was smoking up to 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I was working as a bartender all through university. And I quit smoking a year ago, and I'd say, then I was smoking maybe about a pack a day, which is still a lot, and it was one thing that terrorized me because there was always this one thing I couldn't get rid of, and that was the smoking. And it was out of control, and it was something that destroyed my self-confidence. It was destroying my health. It was destroying like me and my relationship with myself. And that was like the big thing, it was always just feeling like I was controlled by something, which pretty much I was, that I did not have 100% control over my life. That I always walked around, if other people can probably relate to this, with any addiction, with this constant like itch on my shoulder. And it was always kind of like, gotta smoke. And the only time this itch would go away would be when I'd fulfill my addiction. And then once I'd have my cigarette, put it out, then the itch would come back. And it was always just this feeling of like never being complete, this feeling of always being anxious, always feeling like I needed something that I didn't have, always, just never having full control over my life, and always being directed by something outside of me. And and it destroyed so much, like all the money I put into it, and just the self-confidence that was gone, and just always being stressed, always being anxious, always being nervous, always being worrying too, all this added negativity, all coming from this one thing that took me 20 years to get rid of, but I finally got rid of it, and I moved forward from that, no regrets, absolutely no regrets. But I have to say, it was hard because, I always found it kind of weird was that I would compensate, this negative, bad habit with living a very healthy lifestyle for many years, And I mean, always like into natural health and exercise and being healthy, and then I had this like nasty addiction, and I was so ashamed of it, but I many times I felt at a loss of trying to figure out how to get rid of it, because I tried everything, okay? I've tried everything from homeopathy, acupuncture, herbal remedies, hypnosis, every natural remedy out there. And then I also went the pharmaceutical route too. When I was in my early 20s, I tried the nicotine patch, the nicotine gum. I even tried all the medications like Zyban and all that stuff that like alter your brain chemistry so you might not have addictive tendencies, like weird stuff. I tried it. I mean, I was desperate. I would have done anything to quit. And sometimes it was maybe successful for a few days or a few weeks, but never in the long term. And so this final time it's been almost a year, and I'm going strong, I won't ever go back. And how I did things differently was actually quit cold turkey. Because I realized that all these things, whether it was a natural remedy or a pharmaceutical drug, one way or another, they were just designed to cover up the withdrawal symptoms, right? To make it a little bit easier to get through that, all you had to deal with was, just getting over having to function without this substance, right? And the main thing is that I realized that going through the withdrawal, that's the most important part of the quitting process, because you need to feel that discomfort. You need to feel the detoxification. You need to feel like hell. You need to feel out of your element. You need to feel the anxiety, all of that, to know just how bad this drug can make you feel. and how hooked you really are. Because when you know it with your life and physically know it, mentally know it, it'll scare you so much that you'll never want to go near it. You know, and that's where I saw the difference between a lot of, you know, friends and family that have been successful with quitting and those who haven't. You know, it's that the ones that have always been successful have been the ones that are too scared to ever smoke again because the withdrawal was that bad. And for me, it was terrible, you know. And how I did it too was that I realized that there were certain things that contribute to me being successful and certain things that don't. And when I quit smoking, I was actually traveling for about 2 months around the Hawaiian Islands. And I was meeting up with a raw food chef in Kauai, and I didn't know him. I had met him once in California, and he invited me to stay with him, and it was right when I quit smoking, and I decided not to tell him that I'd quit, and just to go and stay with him and to take on my new identity of being a non-smoker. You know, that I was here on out a non-smoker. And, you know, it wasn't, you know, smoking wasn't in his consciousness or the people we were around, so why should it be in mine? And I decided to do it that way because in the past, I've always told my friends and family, oh, I quit smoking, and, you know, and I get phone calls every day of people being like, how are you doing? Can I do anything? Like, you can get through it. How was today? Did you smoke today? And, you know, and as much as they loved me and cared for me and wanted me to get through it, a lot of times, because I was going through the withdrawal and all the toxicity and all that, was that their love to me translated to pressure. You know, and I knew in my heart that it was love, but it felt like pressure. And I would even put more pressure on myself to please everyone, that I would fall off very easily. And then I'd feel really guilty. And that didn't help. And so I wanted to actually be around people that didn't know, you know, and, you know, be anonymous in many ways. And create a new identity for myself as being a non-smoker. And it helped. But the only thing was that I was going through the withdrawal, that I was, you know, so up and down. You know, you really be around people when you quit smoking. Be around people that kind of know or accept you for whatever might come out of you. You know, for me, I was very emotional, you know, that we'd have a great day at the beach and suddenly I'd start crying. You know, that I eventually, within I think 2 or 3 days, I had to tell him, you know, just to explain, like, why am I so crazy, you know, because I felt like my eyes were crossed. I could barely finish a sentence at points. Like, everything just felt so hazy, and I just felt so toxic. Like, you know, picture smoking for 20 years, all of that being released in your bloodstream, you know. There's a lot of toxic chemicals, things that are coming out of you, you know, so you're not going to feel normal and balanced. So that really helped of just doing it on my own. And then another weird thing I did was I actually carried a pack of cigarettes with me for an entire week. And I just kept saying to myself, I'm allowed to have a cigarette if I want one, if I choose to have one. And because it was a choice and not an addiction, and that's how I looked at it, this is my choice, I choose to have one or I choose not to, I kept choosing not to. And I had it around me all the time, pack of cigarette and a lighter. Anytime I wanted one, I was free to have it, but I didn't want it. So I chose not to, and I got rid of the cigarettes after a week. And after that, when I got back, I started doing a lot of juice fasting to really detoxify my system. And that helped as well. You really, you know, you need to release that stuff that's accumulating in you. That, and also make sure for the first 3 months, because that's when you're really going to go through the withdrawal, and have to sort of relearn how to do everything, relearn to, like, go to work and get up in the morning and have breakfast without your morning smoke, all of that. I also made sure I was around people that really inspired me. I didn't want to be around smokers. I made sure I wasn't around them at all. And my friends that did smoke, I let them know. Took a little break. You know, everyone understood because they want to see you happy and they want you to succeed. You know, so the main thing is that you want to be around what you want to be. Okay, so if you want to be successful and happy and healthy, be around successful, happy, healthy people. Makes a huge difference. Because everywhere you look, you're like, that's what I want to be like, you know? And that will keep you going, rather than being around everything that represents who you once were be with who you want to be, okay? So those are my tips, and that was my experience of quitting smoking. And I'm wishing you guys a fabulous, fabulous day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!